for attending. If anybody had the honor to and attended Melanie's member spotlight, in the span of 10-15 minutes, it was really impactful and really educational. So I'm really stoked that Melanie wanted to put on this presentation and for the next 55 minutes and really tell the story. And I think we're all going to be super impressed, because this is about accelerating your brand and making your audience say, wow. So kick back, relax. It's only a 3.5, 4-hour presentation. So make sure you're comfortable, and you could take it from there, Melanie. It's all yours.
Wow, he's making the presentation longer than what it was intended to be. I might have to ad-lib a little bit on this one. So did you know that we are exposed to 30,000 to 80,000 messages per day? Yes, you heard that correctly. 30,000 to 80,000 messages. You can think of it in terms of phone messages, emails, text messages, direct messages, ads, podcasts, billboards. Every time you are exposed to something new, it counts as one message, or more, depending on what the message is. But all of that adds up to 30 to 80,000 messages per day. By the way, slight topic change. How many jelly beans do you think are on this screen? Go ahead and put your answer in the chat. And I'm going to share some random bits of useless information for you about jelly beans. Did you know that they're believed to have been invented in the late 1800s? And in the 1930s, they became associated with Easter. But it was in the 60s that they gained popularity when Ronald Reagan expressed his love for them. Okay, so some answers that we have: 250, 121, 325, 176, more than we can see. 86, 406. There's a 6 theme going on here. And 376. Do you want to know what the correct answer is? It doesn't matter. Each of these jelly beans represents one of the 30,000 messages that we are inundated with every day. What matters is that your audience remembers your message. Okay, so a little bit of housekeeping before we get started. Take whatever your dominant hand is and give me a thumbs up in the screen. Make it as big as you possibly can. When I say something that you like, give me a thumbs up. When I say something you don't like, turn that thumbs up into a thumbs down and give me a thumbs down. And yes, I intentionally put messages in my presentations so you can give me a thumbs down. Being virtual, it can be a little hard to read the audience. So when you make it big, bad, and bold, thumbs up, thumbs down, it helps me easily see what you're trying to communicate with me so I can interact with you a little bit more. You are also encouraged to use your chat or use the chat. I will monitor it as best I can, and I do know that I also have backup with Lane. So, are we ready to get started?
Yeah.
Awesome. Let's go. Ah, look at that. We just started and we're already bored that we're falling off the couch. You see, marketing terminology really hasn't changed in almost a century. Most of what we know about marketing today is based on consumer behavior of the 1950s at best. I don't know about you, but I don't live a 1950s lifestyle. Call me a rebel, but that's not the lifestyle I lead. So in my experience, the statements and the formalities of what we know about marketing are either too formal and wordy, or they're too slapstick and trendy. There's gaps between formal traditional marketing statements, the actual applications, and the results they're intended to generate. This is my Chief Meow Officer, Oliver. He has an obsession with my camera this week, and I have no idea why. So I am on a mission to fix these gaps and help brands build better brands that create a bigger impact in a more simple way. So yes, an argument could be made that if these statements are crafted properly, they can become timeless and flexible to accommodate current market trends, ever-changing technology. But the reality is, most of them are nothing more than templated statements where the information is plug and played and irrelevant to today's market. So what do we do? We're going to watch a video and find out.
Just a few minutes, the idea of verbal ping pong will make a lot more sense. Hi, I'm Brian. And I'm Ken. We're here to help you discover exactly how to give a memorable elevator speech.
But first, we should probably start by talking about what an elevator speech actually is.
And how it helps you and your company.
And why you should care.
Because an elevator speech really doesn't have much to do with, elevators. Now, no matter what division or
Sorry, guys.
department we work for, no matter what our title or position, we're all in sales. When someone asks us the question, you know, you're talking to someone in an informal situation, at Starbucks, at a party, or at your kid's soccer game. When someone asks you the most important, awkward, open-ended question you ever received in your professional life.
What do you do?
The reality is, at the moment you're asked the question, you are transformed. You are now the director of sales, the VP of marketing, and the chief branding officer all in one. To the person you're talking to, you represent the entire company. That's why most of us secretly hate getting asked the question.
The problem is we don't have a concise, practiced answer. So a lot of times we see the question coming and actually try to avoid it.
Or wind up giving some lame, stumble, bumble answer.
Yep, it doesn't matter if you've been doing your job for 5 months or 5 years.
Almost all of us fear the question. That's right, you no longer need to fear the question, because Ken and I are going to show you how to craft a memorable elevator speech for what you and your company offer. So you'll know exactly what to say when someone asks, so what do you do?
Ah!
Remember, Ken, you no longer need to fear the question.
Oh,
Right. Now, let's put this whole thing in context. We're not talking about official sales calls here.
oh, your elevator speech is what you say when you're just talking with people in informal situations. It's called an elevator speech because it's an answer short enough to be said between floors on an elevator ride. Here's how we define elevator speech: a progressively revealed conversational answer to the question, what do you do? That you deliver in such a way that people want you to keep talking.
Okay, progressively revealed. You don't have to tell the entire story in one giant monologue. How many seconds do you think your answer should be when someone asks you the question?
I know. 15 seconds, or even 30 seconds, 45, maybe, under a minute.
Yeah, let's try that in real time. So, Ken, what do you do? Go.
Blah, 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 blah.
Okay, that was painful. And you don't have 15 seconds. You don't have 10 seconds to answer the question. You've got about 3. Your elevator speech is a dialogue, like a game of verbal ping pong.
The other person hits the ball to you by asking the question.
You immediately hit it back to them with a short answer.
Then they decide if you'll both keep playing.
What you don't want to do is hold on to the ball. Thanks for asking, Ken. I'm going to talk for a while. You might want to sit down. Okay, the next part of the elevator speech definition is conversational answer. That means you talk like normal people, not like the Wall Street Journal.
Yes, I'm a leadership systems expert from Mega Services, which is an industry leader in delivering maximum value through value-added dynamic processes and customer-oriented networks, as well as fully integrated employee enhancement programs, which achieve measurable world-class results. It can be escalated to meet the increasing needs of an increasingly complex business environment that demand precision, professionalism, or something else that starts with the letter P. Now,
If you were actually to talk to someone like that in an informal situation, they think you were a freak. Okay, next part of the definition. That you deliver in such a way that people want you to keep talking. This means after you say one line, look for the other person to show that they're interested in what you just said.
How do they do that?
Simple, with the Scooby-Doo response. You know you've got someone hooked when they cock their head or raise their eyebrow or grunt out a what? Getting that kind of non-verbal reaction means they've hit you the ping pong ball again. It's permission for you to keep talking.
Note, Scooby-Doo is a registered copyright of Hanna-Barbera, and our parody reference cleverly avoided any actual images of the real Scooby-Doo, instead substituting a rather pathetic picture of Brian in a generic Great Dane getup. Thank you.
Deep down, people really want to give you the Scooby-Doo response. When they ask you, what do you do? They're hoping you'll say something like,
We build the guidance systems in the space shuttles.
we train Navy SEAL.
We make those cool machines in grocery stores that take your coins and put them into dollar bills.
Now, your answer may not seem as cool, but come on, your job is still sexy.
And people are into it. They've experienced what you do, or their company has bought your company's products, or theoretically could buy them.
Remember, they asked you the question because they already found you interesting. So don't stop being interesting when you talk about what you do.
And you do that by following our simple elevator speech formula.
Which comes with its own 4-second hit song.
The wow is your one-sentence answer to what do you do?
It's what you say to get the Scooby-Doo response.
Then comes how, a sentence or two that explains how you do your job and how it benefits them.
After that, the now. Now is the start of the 3 most powerful words in the English language. Now, for example.
Because that's the start of a story,
And everyone likes a good story.
especially if it's short. The elevator speech opportunity is to quickly connect the person you're talking with to the big concept of what you do. And that happens by you giving a progressively revealed conversational answer.
In the wow, how, now formula.
We'll show you how this can work with a solution for a completely invented automatic defibrillator company called HeartMax Technologies.
Which you gotta admit is a tougher sell conversationally than your company's product or service.
So, Brian, what do you do?
I'm in the human jumper cable business. Bam, short and intriguing. That's your wow line. You've got them hooked. And the person you're talking to is going to go, "Bah."
Why? Because human jumper cable business sounds really interesting. It would be impossible for them to stop listening to you right now. They have to know more. So they will give you the Scooby-Doo response or even ask you what that means. Verbal ping pong.
After you get the Scooby-Doo grunt or nod, you jump to the how line. I work for HeartMax Technology. It's my job to get our automatic defibrillator units, like those paddle things in the yards, into companies and schools.
Now they're starting to get the picture of what your company does. They're thinking, oh, so that's what he meant by human jumper cables. At this point, they may say something, or they'll give you more head nodding. That's permission for you to say another line with a customer benefit.
Like, so normal non-medical people, like you and me, actually save our coworkers and kids.
At this point, most people will go, oh, or they'll give you the New York mouth. That means, okay, that's enough, you're done. But sometimes they'll be hooked and want to know more of the story.
With those people, you jump in with a compelling real-world story from your department or business unit, starting with the 3 power words, now, for example.
And once you're into a story, the elevator speech is over. Now you're having what behavioral scientists call a conversation.
Maybe that'll lead to a give me your card situation or even a sales pitch. You never know.
But what you do know is now, in a memorable way, you've helped position in others' minds what you and your company do.
So with these short memorized lines, you are ready with a progressively revealed conversational answer to the question,
What do you do?
that you deliver in such a way that people want you to keep talking.
So, what do you guys do?
So the bald guy in blue, his name is Brian. He was a mentor to me early on in my business. And while he originally invented the concept, what I've learned in working with my clients is actually taking his original invention and taking it one step further. When crafted correctly, the wow statement becomes a core premise that, like a slinky, can expand and contract into multiple forms, creating a level of consistency, accountability, and flexibility to allow your brand to scale and become the preferred brand in the industry. Or to put it more simply, we're designing your own category so you don't have to constantly chase your competitors. I don't know about you, but it's a lot easier to sell your services when you're not constantly chasing your competitors in the market. So allow me to introduce the wow statement to you. What it does is it generates interest in your brand. It's flexible and it's adaptable to multiple uses, regardless of how technology changes. It makes it easy for your market to instantly get what you do. It boosts your SEO. Imagine that. And it's the beginning of the category design process. But now that leads to the next question. What's category design? Your brand only matters when your audience understands what category it's in. People relate to brands based on what's familiar to them, whether it be your competitors, the value you provide, the service or product that you offer, and how you can help them. Whatever they most associate and connect with is how they're going to assume your brand is like. Subconsciously, your audience is seeking to put you in a box that they understand. And this isn't something they have any control over. Our brains do this automatically. So whether you want to be in the box that they put you in or not, you're there in their mind. This is why in sales, you're always taught to say yes and. It helps your audience feel important and be excited for what you're going to say next. When you define your own category, it's less about competing and more about defining the future in the space that you hold. Can you guys think of any companies that have done category design? Have any that they don't play by the rules, they do their own thing?
Google.
Google, yeah, when Google launched. Randy?
Amazon, Apple.
When Apple launched iTunes, yeah. Tesla, Netflix, Uber, these are all companies that when they launched, they didn't try to compete. They defined their own category to move forward. Now, at the time, did we know that that's what they were doing? No, not at all. It's after they achieved a level of success that we were able to describe what they did as category design. Now, we're not going to go into the full category design process. We are going to start the first phase of developing a wow statement. But our goal today is to not craft a wow statement. Instead, what we're going to do in a few minutes is we're going to get into breakout rooms. And you are encouraged to ramble for 2 minutes. And I mean the word ramble. Share with the people that you're in the group with about the work that you do in non-buzz terms and the value you provide. What do clients come back and tell you about your business? And what I want everybody else in the group to do is write down what I call buzzwords and phrases. The reality is you remember maybe 20% of what another person says. I'd have no expectation that you're going to remember every word of today's presentation. But there's going to be certain buzzwords and certain phrases that I say that are going to stick with you, that you write down. When you listen to each other talk in these breakout sessions, I want you to write down just those buzzwords and phrases, even if they don't make any sense. It's what stands out in your mind. And then when the person is done talking, go ahead and share with them what you heard. And what's important to note is that we want to focus in the positive. It's very easy to say, I don't work with, or I don't do this. Every time you say no and don't, you're telling your audience not to work with you. So how can you turn that around? Put it in the positive, and then listen to what people actually connect with when you are talking about your business and the value that you provide to your clients. Now, some people do have a hard time getting started, so I'd like to share 3 questions with you that you can poke and prod. Remember, the goal is not conversation, but it is to have, to get them talking and just listen. 3 questions to get them started are: tell me about your favorite client. What was your client struggling with before you started working together? And what could they do different after working with you? Have any questions? All righty, Lane, can we put them in their groups?
Yeah, let the stumbling begin. I got 3 breakout rooms, evenly spaced, and Mel, time 6 minutes. Was it 2 minutes each person? Is 6 minutes enough time?
Can we do 7 minutes? That way they have time to fumble bumble when they first get in there and wrap up.
You got it. I'll create them now, and we'll be back in a bit.
Thank you.
Give me 1 second. I have to let me just do this.
So, sorry, how long is our total breakout session?
7 minutes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Is it alphabetically by first or last names?
Whoever has a Z in their name, you guys can figure it out.
All right. Good luck, everybody.
We're all the best.
I kept you and I together, so it was 3, 3, and 3.
Okay, perfect.
Just that 10 plus in case anybody had any issues. I don't want to get distracted.
Yeah. Yeah, I've
Cool.
learned when I go in too early, they go down the path of let's create a final wow statement. So,
And out of curiosity, because you're the host, if you click on breakout rooms at the bottom, you'll see who's with who.
yes, it gave me a pop-up as soon as you did
Oh,
it.
okay. So
Yeah.
this is pretty good. I think Stephen can learn a lot from John and Pam, especially John. And Kevin and Katrina should hit it off well in
Nice.
there. And yeah, I like the makeup of room 1, all very diverse people.
Yep.
Cool. Now we get to relax.
Yeah.
Let me send a message to this person. You have a, well, you're 3 hours behind us. You have a busy day?
On days that I speak, I try to keep it lighter, just so my mind doesn't go in too many different directions. I do have a meeting this afternoon. And then I get to walk down in the rain and get my car, so that's about all I've got going on.
Perfect. Yeah, I'll have to in a few hours after this and get things wrapped up, and well, you know, it'll be the weekend.
Mhm.
Yeah, I thought that Valerie was going to make it today. I know she signed up.
Yeah, she signed up and then I saw she posted on LinkedIn saying that she's in California or something like that.
Let me send a note. You know, people join at 2:30, a half hour late. No.
Steve Furman is the scale up guy, right?
Yeah, scale up guy.
Yep.
That shows up 31 minutes late to an event. That'll get edited out of the recording. Make note, Kim.
We are trash talking and you just need to get rid of the evidence.
Yeah. You into sports? You like any sports?
If I'm forced to sit and watch them, I will get into the game, but I won't voluntarily sit and watch or follow them.
Got it.
I was pretty involved with them in high school and it was fun. It just, to me, I would rather play than be on the sidelines.
Sure, that's the competitive nature of you.
Mhm. So like for sports, mostly what I end up doing and the way I end up getting myself into the game is I critique the uniforms.
Ah, keeps you busy.
It does. And then eventually I catch on that they're playing a game and then I usually know at least some level of the roles and like, yeah. Football, give me about a quarter. I don't usually need that long and I'm usually into, you know, the actual game of it, but I won't voluntarily sit down and watch it.
Got it. Yeah, I dig sports, but I'm a big football guy. Sundays are like my day.
Yep.
I
Yeah.
cook every Sunday, have people over, watch football.
Yeah, and I'm totally good with that. It's just the whole like I won't plan my life around it. So, but yeah,
But
if somebody's like come over and especially if you're cooking, I'm like, hell yeah, let's go.
it's like a way of life. It's like every Sunday for 18 weeks. Then you have the playoffs and Super Bowl. You know exactly what you're doing every Sunday.
Yep.
And after the Super Bowl, you get this like depression for a little bit. It's like, wait, what am I doing this weekend? What am I doing Sunday? I got to find something to do now.
I just sent them the 1 minute warning.
Oh, wow. How fast times goes.
I know. I was looking at it and it was about 3 minutes. I'm like, I'll send a 2 minute warning. And then we're talking. And I'm like, oh, forgot.
Yeah, when the time runs out, I set it at 10 seconds before they all come back.
Okay.
You enjoying the cat?
I am. He's a very much a lover. So
It's like my doggy. It's like my Bubba. Love my dog.
yeah, he's my baby.
Yep.
Very much so.
All right, everybody will be coming back in a moment.
3, 2, 1. Welcome back.
Hello, hello.
Hello. So I would love for you guys to share what you learned in sharing about your business with each other.
That was maybe
Speak up.
not enough time.
I agree. This is normally a 90-minute process with clients, so I completely agree.
Hmm.
So do you want us to speak about us or speak about what we heard?
Whatever you feel most comfortable sharing.
Ladies first, anybody?
The one who has his knee in their name goes first.
Yeah, John, you're the scaling up sales expert.
All right, I'll just go then. I'll tell my story since Pam said it was a good story. So my favorite client is a three brothers and a mother that run a business, an electric sign business down in Philadelphia. Was introduced to them about 6 or 8 months ago. What they were struggling with is dad died 4 years ago. He started the company 30 years ago, and he died, I think it's 3.5 years now. And they were sitting at the exact same sales level they were the day dad died when I met them. And they just didn't know how to move it forward. You know, 2 salesmen doing the same thing they always did on their own, no guidance, nothing. So what are they doing differently since I'm there and will do after I'm gone? We have a new salesperson in place. Sales are rising rapidly. There are processes in place to do everything they need to do. When it's time to hire more salespeople, there's a built-in onboarding process, an interview process, a review process, and I've got dashboards and KPIs all over the place showing them how they're progressing, and everybody's operating under the same sales process and system. And we got a nice, pretty CRM that everybody works from. So boom, my ramble.
So John, when you shared that with the group, what was the feedback that they gave you? What were the power words or phrases that they heard when you were sharing?
I didn't get that. Sorry. We were a little short on time.
Yeah, we didn't.
Yeah, we didn't get to
There
that.
were 3 of us in the room, so 7 minutes went by fast.
Okay. Did anybody get to that point of?
Yeah, so I got to that point. I just
Okay.
wrote it down, whatever I could get my mind on it.
Mhm.
So these guys were saying, okay, so let's start with Jay. And he's an outsourcing accountant. So what I got from him was streamlined, accurate, time-saving, deep, controlling, reviewing, these sort of words that just clicked in my mind.
Awesome.
So in that same, so we were in the same room. So I wrote better controls, structured, streamlined, accurate, and they were behind the times and inefficient.
Oh, interesting. So notice how, and I'm sorry, I missed who you guys were both
We were
talking.
talking about Jay.
Okay, Jay. So Jay, what did this, how did you feel hearing these words based on everything that you had actually said?
Medium.
Okay. And honestly, that's how you're supposed to feel.
Right, not great, because my message didn't get across clearly.
Exactly. We invest so much time in building our brand, having the right color, having the right fonts, having the right logo, having the right messaging, spending hours crafting emails. And the reality is, people catch onto certain words or phrases of what you say. So when I put my clients through this process, this is phase 1. We have that first session where you are talking, you are rambling, and I'm writing down the power words and phrases that I'm hearing. And I'm also writing down the power words and phrases that you're telling me your clients are hearing and valuing, that you maybe are not connecting with because you're too close to it. After that, we combine that with relevant industry words and SEO and make it SEO friendly. What this does is it creates possible wow statements. From the ones that are then presented to the clients, there's usually one or two that stands out. So we test them, and depending on which gets a more relevant feedback and more relevant results to your business, that's what we proceed with. So let's take a little, go ahead.
I would like to say that this is like something I naturally do. I just look into people's eyes, and anything either like someone else told me about my business, or like I'm trying something new, and if that line or that word just excites them a little bit, like for instance, I just got this recently, like cheaper than Philippines. And that's like a very relevant thing, and people just like immediately, like, it just clicks for them. And yeah, so I get that, and yeah, I like it.
Yes, and that's amazing, because you, like me, can do this consciously. Most people, this only happens unconsciously for. And that's where this process becomes so powerful. So I'm going to walk you through mine to give you a little bit of an understanding of how it's used and how it's applied. And feel free to ask questions. So my wow statement is be ready to scale. Absolutely everything that you see me put out is about being ready or scaling your business. Absolutely everything. Now, what does that mean? Be ready is mindset, and it's also the operational, making sure it can happen. So I was in a meeting yesterday and I mentioned the whole, you might have a ton of publicity. You might have thousands of people coming to your website. If you have no means of capturing their contact information to convert them, what good is it? So those are my two areas. The be ready is making sure that you are operationally and strategically ready, and also mindset ready. And then scale is about scaling your brand from where it is currently to where it needs to go. Now, my how line, or my positioning statement, is Omicle delivers brand clarity, marketing strategy, and operational efficiency to prepare founders to scale their business through revenue-driven leadership. Now, you'll notice that there are similarities between the two. It's not the exact same message, but it's the same message that is applied in here. The difference with the positioning statement is that it is tailored for digital marketing and getting found online and being relevant to someone who is looking for your services. Any video that I put out or blog post is about either being ready or scaling your business. But everything goes back to that phrase. And when it's implemented correctly, you will notice that people start to introduce you with your wow statement, and it's a subconscious decision on their end, which means they think that they are doning this title on you, when in reality, we've planted the seeds all along for them to tell the story that you want them to tell. Any questions at this point?
I was just going to comment, Melanie, the wow statement and the how and positioning statement is great, but I think a big key to the success of this is your consistency in putting the same message out there.
Exactly. And that's why this is only the first part of category design. This is just the starting point. If people can't categorize you and wrap their head around what you do, the rest of what you do doesn't matter, because they're not going to have enough of a frame of reference as to why you're relevant or how you can help them. So that's why I start with this when it comes to category design. So great point, and thank you, Lane. So I'm going to share with you some client examples Please assume that everything that you see is a registered trademark. So no, you cannot take it. Okay, here are a few final wow statements that were crafted with clients. What do you notice about them?
They're all positive.
And they're short.
Mhm. Anything else?
There's like 3 main words.
Mhm.
Very concise.
Yep. And I usually have a jackal in the audience that goes, well, none of them make me say, wow. And that's the idea. You don't want your wow statement to make somebody say, wow, because when they start getting overly excited about a marketing campaign, they start looking for your flaws. You want something that resonates and connects with them, conveys value to their situation, and starts to plant the seed that you can solve the challenges and problems they're currently facing. Each of these, like in everything you just identified, yes, it's positive. It's a step closer to yes. It's short and concise. Yes, because remember, the goal is it's a slinky that we can go like this with. We can expand each and every one of these, and some of them we can make shorter, and some of them can be used as an actual tagline as is. So let's take a look at a few more. Oh, before we do that, it's key to note that taglines are not wow statements, but wow statements can be taglines. A tagline like Nike's Just Do It only ever appears as a tagline, where a wow statement is incorporated into everything that you do, everything from how you write your product and service descriptions, into blog posts, into videos. It's built into everything, which is why people really get to know who you are and what you do and the value that you provide. Okay, here's another client example. Accelerate the impact of inclusion is the wow statement. Their how statement is we accelerate the impact of inclusion through strategic diversity management to capture utilized revenue streams. This company went from needing 15 minutes, and I timed them, to describe their business down to 90 seconds. They were in a kickoff meeting for a project that they were working on, and they had a set amount of time to pitch their business, their role in the project, and then they would move on to other vendors so everybody would get to know everybody. This client was the only company that was able to meet time, got complimented on their presentation, and was remembered 3 months later when they met again. And going back to the jelly beans from earlier, can they remember your message? That's what's important. I'm looking at the time, so I'm going to skip over a few others and just go to one that's a little different. So this is a nonprofit organization, and their wow statement is inspire ambition, elevate impact. Where this organization was different is they had three distinct target markets. They had students, they had professional members, and they had sponsors. Each target market had a completely different value proposition and why they were associated with the organization. So the overarching positioning statement that we went with was we're the premier organization for elevating the impact of Latino leaders. The second one is for their sponsors. We elevate the partner's brand by connecting them with top Latino talent while providing ongoing professional development and employee engagement opportunities. Then for students, we inspire Latino students on their journey to impact the world by connecting them with professional networks and opportunities. And then for professional members, we're a trusted partner for Latino professionals, We connect people, networks, and organizations to inspire growth and elevate impact. While they have 4 different positioning statements for 4 completely different uses, every one of them is on brand, is relevant, and conveys the same message and the same level of impact. And that's key in growing your brand in a way that allows everybody to instantly get what you do. So this is a testimonial from a client that I worked with. After the rebrand, we were able to raise in 3 months what the organization previously raised in 3 years. They finally have a successful path forward. Okay, so different ways that you can utilize the wow statement when it is crafted properly. It can become a brand tagline. It can be used to update your mission statement. When I work with nonprofits, this is something they often do, is they will update the mission statement to be an extended version of the wow statement. It can be used as a marketing campaign slogan, and it's how you answer the question, what do you do? So going back to Brian's video, when you're asked, what do you do? Your answer, in my case, could be something as simple as, I work with founders and executives to be ready to scale their business. It's short, it's conversational, it's to the point, and it's enough that it invites them to say, tell me more. And that's the purpose of the conversation. You incorporate it into team bios. If you go to my site and you look at my bio, magically, the wow statement is worked into my bio. Incorporate it into product and service descriptions, exact same thing. And then it becomes the foundation for category design. So if you're ready to stop competing and stop chasing your competitors, this is the foundational element that will help you create that category so you create your future of moving forward instead of a future of chasing others. I know we've got like 8 minutes left, so I'm going to leave it here and open it up for questions. Does anybody have any questions or comments? Lane.
I have one, just in this, short period of time. It's pretty powerful stuff. What is your average typical engagement look like time-wise, where you really have that impact on the customer?
That's a great question. So if we're just doing the category design messaging, in that case, that is usually done within 45 days. If we're going into the full-scale category design implementation, depending on where you are and what you're doing, the minimum engagement is 3 months, and most clients end up staying with me anywhere between 2 and 4 years. Any other questions?
Will we get a copy of this recording?
Maybe.
Huh? What?
Yeah, we're gonna edit it, and we usually post these on the YouTube channel for the members.
Thank you.
So the answer is yes.
Just gonna say that's a lame question. I can't handle that. I can't answer that one.
I see Jay has his hand up.
Yeah, so Melanie, what happens if you're not Google?
What do you mean? What happens if you're not Google?
I'm not Google. I'm not transforming the world.
I can assure you that absolutely none of my clients are Google. As much as it's amazing to land a company like Google as a client, I do not work in, that's not my clientele. My goal is to do the category design within your scope of market.
Right. So for instance, what I do is I provide accounting department services, right? So I heard someplace and someone said, always use the word transform. Like you said, I'm transforming your business. And in some cases I do, In many cases, I don't.
Mhm.
And maybe that might be a turnoff. So I'm trying to figure that word that will get people, but I have a problem. I try to be honest, right? So like I don't want to misrepresent the truth, but
So you're not turning
I'm
a
struggling.
caterpillar into a butterfly with every client that you work with?
No.
First of all, congratulations on your honesty. Second of all, that
My
is
clients are usually mud rats, you know.
Second of all, that is okay. Now, one area I would encourage you to consider is when you're focused on a single word like transform. That is something that is more tagline in alignment. It's something that it's less about the category design process and it's more about fitting into something that's already existing. So it's shifting the focus back to the other way, which is fine for some businesses. It's just not the process that we covered today. So what you did in the breakout session was you shared your story. You shared a portion of your story and you heard how others received it. And that's where we start, is how do others receive what you do? And then we take that and combine that with relevant buzz or SEO phrases to make it a timeless phrase, meaning it's just as relevant today as it is tomorrow, as it is in 5 years with minimal tweaking. And that's the difference. We may or may not use the word transform. I honestly don't know the answer to that because I've not heard, exactly what you do, who you work with, and your client and your situation. I don't think you saw the word transform in any of the WOW statements because it's
No, not in
Okay.
yours. I heard it someplace else and I was like, oh, that's really good.
It's
good.
generally more of a buzz term. And when you have buzz terms, just like fashion, it goes in and out. And when a buzz term goes out of fashion, it can date your brand. So I try to keep the work that I do very conversational because when it's conversational, it's A, easier to remember, which is very important. And B, it makes it more timeless and relatable.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Got a couple hands up on the top.
Oh, yes.
Randy Mudasir. Thank you. So that was a great presentation, Melanie. So what I just want to say is, from what I heard from Jay, I heard the buzzwords of him being very efficient and him being streamlined and being accurate. I hope, Jay, you didn't take it the wrong way of what I said. I heard that when you came into that organization, you made it so much better. That's what I'm saying. Like, I hope you didn't take that negatively.
No.
No,
Okay.
see what he was most, and I don't mean to speak for you, Jay, but I do have an
Go right
activity
ahead.
I do in in my other presentations. I call it the grocery store exercise. And what I do is I have everybody share, and I give you a grocery list, and it's generic things like eggs, milk, and toilet paper. What did you buy the last time you went to the store? And you would be amazed at how little people actually remember. In the one presentation I had, it was in a university and this kid stood up, it was stadium seating, so they were like almost vertical to me. He stood up in the back and he goes, I don't remember the brand, but it's got a damn beer on it. Whole audience lost it and we had to help him with, Charmin. So it's the difference between we invest so much and we hope and we expect that our clients and our prospects remember just as much about our brand as we invest into it. And that's not the reality of how branding works. And that's not the reality of what is going to help convert from a prospect to a client. Go ahead.
Yeah, so actually, I don't know if you have time for these questions, but I'm just gonna ask it. Okay, so does the word density matter? I mean, like you gave an example about a company, a client of yours, which made a really good presentation, and do the word density. Like if you have several of these words that sound classy and I don't know, expensive kind of, does it make a difference when like you're trying to close maybe like for bigger companies, I can understand that like they believe like they can see themselves as being a good fit with you because you're on their same like words or terminologies. You're using similar forms of communication. And like if, for instance, that's not your goal, like you're not doing to like over 500 employees, like you're doing someone who's got like 10 employees or 20 employees. And does that make a difference? Like, do you still sound so expensive that maybe they get scared off? Like, it's too expensive. This guy's like way over me or something like that.
I'm not sure I understand the question. Are you asking my prices? And help me understand.
Actually, I was asking about like the impact of the words themselves, like how.
Oh, okay. So I typically work within the B2B space, the SaaS space, and the nonprofit space. This process has been tested and proven within that realm. I'm typically working with 1 to 25 million. I've worked outside of that, and the process does still work. The languaging is not necessarily, like the more simpler words are not necessarily why someone comes to me or not. Why they usually come to me is because their marketing has plateaued, and sometimes they know why, sometimes they don't know why. And they know that they need to change something. One client we did not get a chance to go over, from an SEO perspective, they had been categorized as a COVID solution, slightly kind of irrelevant at this point. So they were losing their SEO ranking. They were having a harder time converting sales, and consistently we're hearing, we don't need you, COVID's over. We did a complete repositioning. We did the wow statement, the positioning statement, taught them how to implement it, updated the keywords to be relevant to this new positioning. And within 3 months, they went from losing SEO ranking to beating their previous ranking and actually getting people to be willing to have that conversation with them for sales. So it's not about the words, it's about the problem that they're facing when they come to me. Does that answer your question?
Well, kind of. I'm still confused. Like, do I make my words more fancy and maybe I'll get more business? Like, that's the really.
It doesn't necessarily come down to fancy words or not fancy words. It's more of a understanding what you do, the value you provide, and how you fit into the market. So we're asking different questions to come to a different solution.
So just be you, more you.
It is, yes. And in a way that is in alignment with things like SEO, because the reality is, you can say you're special, you can say you're worth $1 million an hour, but if Google does not agree with that and does not agree with how you utilize terms, you're not going to be found. So it's a both and situation. It's a tech and it's a psychological approach to a solution.
Cool. Very cool.
I was, and we'll wrap up in a minute. I know about to go, but it was funny. I was smiling because one thing that Mudasir said that he started off, you said, does density matter? And we all use our brains very differently when it comes to creativity. And the first thing I thought about was, what a great tagline. Density matters, because density is matter. And if you can put that together based on the
Ooh,
industry,
I
I'm
like that.
I'm like, you just created a tagline. Density
Yes.
matters.
I
Could be
like that a
Could
lot.
be for a concrete company. You know what I mean?
No,
But,
I want it. I want it.
If it's relevant to your industry and the work that you do, then by all means run with it, because it is a great phrase to use. But again, it has to be used in a certain way with a certain audience to make it have that impact that we're searching for. So yes.
this was great stuff. Really
Thank
good
you.
stuff.
Thank
Really
you
appreciate
for having
everybody.
me.
Great, Melanie.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes,
thank
this was really
you.
good.
Thank you, Melanie, for your time. It was awesome.
Thanks, Randy.
It's a nice
You're
teaser.
welcome.
And
You're welcome.
hopefully we'll see everybody at happy hour tomorrow. So
Yep.
enjoy the
Hey,
rest of your
Jay.
day.
Bye.
Thank you.